So we'll start from a standing person to where we're sort of maybe already in or into the legs anyway. So we're going to start from outside Ashi position to where I'm going to have good connection to his hip from here. Really what I want to start thinking about doing is how can I weight him either to start making stepping or getting down to a kick from this position. So typically for my legs when I'm locking into position, I want to start creating some downward force from here. So if my legs are floating too high, he can start getting one post from here, start breaking through. This is what we start looking at today actually when we get to here. But you know, if I go too deep on the triangle from here, again, it's easier to slip from this position. So once I'm locking, I can pull my heel down, lock this like over, start driving my heels towards the floor where I get a good catch from this position. So from here, what I'm thinking about doing now is just start knocking him back. Yeah, so if I get that motion, this is good for you. Just on the back, please. If he can start driving his knee forward from this position, sometimes this can be harder, and this is where we get a little bit stuffed up from here, especially if I can't turn it out one way or the other. Just like that. And this is where we'll sort of drift to in a little bit. But first off, let's just work on getting to the position and then working to the hip from here. So I can work my knee outwards and I can turn my knee outwards to where we start seeing through the foot. If we've got good positioning, we can always work into other things from this position. Or, you know, I can start working to where we start crossing the legs, depending on their defense. A lot of times they can start working to get their foot to the floor from here, start building up, we'll do a split squat, you drive your ear. Again, this really gets into trouble. Although this is where we start looking to pummel in, and then start forcing different breaks from this position. But we'll also troubleshoot for when they can get their foot back to the floor from here, start driving through, and then potentially start looking for lots from here. So we'll just start with our partner scanning and us from this position. But primarily, we're going to look for this, where we put him to the hip this way. Yeah, coming back from here. Or again, I can start transitioning where I start getting his weight forward, going into the secondary leg, and we're already transitioning to different forms of locking from this position, pummeling from this position, or where we want to go. So as long as we've got them hopping, stepping, and off balancing, then this is where we want to start from this position. So grab a partner, just start seeing if you can move them around from this position, and then we'll start building off that. Right? So there's lots of things we can do in terms of what we're doing with our legs, where we're transitioning legs, like how far we can sort of break them down, whether we're going into reaping from this position, where we're coming through, whether we get the secondary leg, whether we can start like transitioning into other forms of leg entanglements and leg locking and all these things from this place. But we'll try and minimize that for now, but when we go to open rounds, understanding, you know, all our transitions are there, as long as we're doing a good job in terms of how they're entangling, how we're off balancing, and all those things. So we might even show the like short Achilles from this position. So if Cal's doing a good job of maybe pushing my knee past his knee line, if he keeps driving my knee down and starts forcing his knee forward from this position, turn it up, this can be like problematic, and I lose a lot of things, so this is not going to be good for me. So if I feel like that is happening, and I can lock it to this position where I'm just under his knee, and I've still got my tight Achilles here. Basically, what I'm stopping here is him being able to drive his knee forward from this position. Like, I'm being loose here so he can do so. Or him trying to extract his leg by keeping this tight from this position. So if he tries to drive his knee forward, I want to match that by again using my hip drive, opening my knee, and then coming to this position. So I'm pitching my triangle, so I've got no space east direction here. I've already got a thick Achilles from this position. This is where I start looking to join my hand into a tight figure 4. You see, already started to come on. I will make sure my elbow is partly pinched here. So I don't have an open elbow, I don't have space in this position. He can wiggle his foot around from here. Yep, just come back. So everything is about compression at this point. And then when I start locking from here, one, I could drive my heels to the floor, start using my hip to drive up. You can see it started to come on here, and then I'm already compressing. So without even lifting my hip, if we have strong enough compression, we can do that because I'm using my shoulder to push his toes down as I'm driving my elbow under to lift his heel off the floor. And then again, now I can start, like, I'll just loosen this up, and now I can start thinking about using the hips here. So then if I combine 1, 2, you know, we get a very, very strong lock here. You can still do it from different positions where they can lock and get straight, you know, ankle locks here. But when we shorten it, we can make it very powerful because the fulcrum that I get in terms of how I'm compressing and then how I'm extending is very strong. So you go back to standing if you don't mind. So we're here in our Outside Ashi. I'm trying to off balance. He does a good job of doing this, so I lock immediately. From here, immediately I want to start sending him back. So this is just loose at the moment as I talk, but I'm locking, I drive my hip to see him on here. And then once I'm here, I'm locking his hip. If I have the space, I will look to pummel his foot inside into a hook from this position. It just hides my foot from here. If it's out, that is okay. You know, if he just grab an Achilles lock of this one, Cal, yeah, there is potential for him to get to locks on me, but come back. So if he does build up and there's space for me to pummel my foot, I will. If not, I'm just mindful of him grabbing my foot if I see it, shifting, collecting, and then putting it on. So let's get to the off balance. They're pushing me down, still put him to a hip. Let's look for the finish line. So maybe we're in this position and I've broken it down to a hip from here, and he starts looking to get up. So he has to turn this way, get up to it. So from just go back, just go to a knee if you don't mind. So from this position, like this, you don't have to go to this move. Like I could look to start getting to a hit where we start pummeling in and start working, say like AOPs from here. If I could start putting that heel onto my ribs and everything else. Or maybe he starts like grabbing that and forward. And again, I can't get that extension out from here. So I do one leg pummel, second leg pummel. And now my hands are already in place from this position. There was one group from here where the knee was turning down from here and then trying to extend, and where it's got here. So I've got to open that knee up from this position, because one, I'll look to drive his knee back, and that puts a lot of pressure to where I'm trying to do the tape break here, as opposed to being down and I do this. So you probably don't feel the pressure here, but so I could be here all day, nothing's gonna happen. Where I simply open that knee and then start forcing through, and we get the tap from this position. So if you guys want to start from a hip, a lot of times people will look to get up to this position, because they'll look like, if it does this, like you can start getting the exposure to their heels, everything like that. But yeah, like if he drives this knee forward and I can't prop him up, so a good way to prop him up is literally start transitioning to say like Y guards from this position, because I can heel up the floor, then transitioning back into my butterfly hooks or my butterfly Ashi equivalence position. But if we get ready to hook to the floor from here, like it could be hard to prop him up from here. Like Y guard will help like lift the heel again, or again I can start transitioning back into this short Achilles. So from here, put your heel on the floor, Cal. Yep, just put your foot flat full of floor. Yep, that's fine. So see how, yeah, if he'll try and keep his heel on the floor, and it's my hips here that are allowing his heel to come off. So this is a really good way, as long as you keep this tight and not slipping here, and you know my knees are now slipped over his knee line from this position. So once I've locked this in, I've got everything tight from this position. That's my goal. So I'm not holding on tight with the Achilles. It's just to show you that force of lifting his heel off the floor. And now I put all my wedges in place to compression around that. And then from here, again, I think about lifting his heel, driving my heels down, opening this knee from this position, and getting my taps on here. So, one more time. Well, we can go from here, that's fine. I drop into a hip, he builds up. Maybe we start transitioning, try to go to this position, put that down, a pummel, and then we're here. Well, hopefully get the tap first before you can start pummeling your legs. So we're gonna start from outside Ashi. I don't mind if you wanna like pummel your leg to any form of entanglement. My goal is to put him on it from here. So you can start with an Achilles, and I start with 2 feet on the outside from here. So basically just go, get ready, let's roll. So he can do anything he wants to like detangle me from here. You can't just go up into the strong Achilles lock, otherwise we'll get to that later. Like if it's there, you can't lift it there. But yeah, my goal is to off balance, hopefully put him on a hip. If I do that, that's it, I win, and we can switch over, come back upwards. Like if he continues to like, yeah, push my legs out, start stepping out, I don't use the control, you know, that's a win for him. Again, I can start from this position, he starts disrupting my legs. I can start pummeling, start looking for the secondary leg as well. As long as I sit them on the hip, that's the only thing I need to clear out. So we'll go 1 for 1. start from outside Ashi, put them on a hip. The highest thing come up, or at the single hip and go, I'm not even gonna take the sweep points. I'm gonna work deeper into my entanglements now, to where we're gonna start working into like, proper finishes here. So, yeah, you could choose to sit them on a hip and just maintain your sack. You could choose to sit them on a hip, come up and take the points. Top side, you're looking to pass. So that's really your objective, or counter leg lock. So if I'm here and I'm like this, and I go, oh yeah, I'm doing this, there's like here, you take it, yeah, just back it. Perfect. And I fucked up, so that's what he should do. Cool, 1 for 1 again, first point or submission.